Hey everyone, it's Pastor Sarah here with my vlog, Faith at Home, Not Alone, and we're in Advent season. And I picked a nice, bright, decorated spot to come and record this because we have not decorated yet at my house. And she will have a son, and you are to name him Jesus, for he will save his people from their sins. All of this occurred to fulfill the Lord's message through his prophet. Look, the virgin will conceive a child. She will give birth to a son, and they will call him Emmanuel, which means God is with us. Well, it's the month of December, and I think for a lot of us, this is a very busy month. We have Christmas parties, there could be work parties, school parties, parties with friends, parties with family, other family get-togethers. There's Christmas shopping, Christmas baking if you want to or not. There's a lot of planning. There's a lot of expectations, maybe even traditions and trying to fit everything in. Maybe this season is full of things that you're looking forward to, but maybe there's things that you're not looking forward to. And I just want to give you permission right now to pause, take a moment, and just take a nice deep breath. Let it all out. So what I want to talk about is Advent, and it's not something I want to be added on to all the other to-dos as another obligation or thing we just have to add into our season. For me, Advent is really a reprioritizing of what this season is all about. And I think Advent is a key, especially for those of us who are followers of Jesus, who want to raise our children to know God, to love and follow Jesus as well. I think that Advent can be a real key to us in the hecticness and busyness of the season to making it what it's really all about for us. And Advent is, as a season, it's the 4 Sundays leading up to Christmas, and it's a time in the church calendar where we intentionally turn our focus to Jesus and the fact that he came as a baby. He came to earth to live life as we do. And in the midst of all the busyness of kind of excitement and celebration, taking those pauses, taking that time to reflect can really give us an understanding of what this is all about. Celebrating Advent is a way of pausing in all of the busyness to know that Jesus, who is the King of Kings, who is the Prince of Peace, came to live among us. He is Emmanuel, God with us. And as you think about that, why don't we take another deep breath and let it all out. You know, as I reflect on what it means that Jesus came to live here on earth, that he came as a vulnerable, weak infant that needed to be cared for, that he didn't come when the time was exactly right. It was certainly God's perfect time for him to come, but when we look at the circumstances of when he was born, it doesn't seem like the perfect time. It was right in the middle of a census when everybody had to shuffle around, no matter what they had going on. Joseph and Mary, they weren't ready for him. They didn't know he was coming until, it was announced to them by the angel. So they were taken by surprise. And I'm sure Joseph and Mary's families were also in disarray with all of this going on. An unplanned pregnancy before the wedding date, it probably threw everybody off. And then having to go to Bethlehem for the census. And then even thinking of the political situation, they were Jews living in occupied territory. The Romans were were ruling at that time. Even the king on the throne, King Herod, was a murderous king, a threat to Jesus. And the religious leaders, they weren't on the lookout for a Messiah coming the way Jesus did, in poverty and obscurity, hidden away. They weren't anticipating him coming that way. So to all the externals that were happening, it did not seem like the best time for Jesus to come. But I think that's the way God often comes to us. It's not in the peaceful moments, the moments where everything's going right, where our lives have turned out the way we always wanted them to. God often comes to us in the mess, the pain, the suffering, the disorder, disarray of what's going on in our lives. That's when he shows up. And he wants to come and be Emmanuel, God with us, right there, right in the midst of all that pain and mess. We don't have to get our to-do lists done. We don't have to have everything decorated perfectly or beautifully. We don't have to even have our own lives all figured out for Jesus to come to us. And he comes as our Prince of Peace. He comes to bring us wonderful gifts of joy, of hope, of peace, of love. He comes to be with us. And he comes asking this question, will you receive me? Will you welcome me into your home, into your family, into your lives? Will you let me come and be the one who leads you into a future that does have hope, that does have peace, that does have joy, even in the midst of all the other stuff? And the wonderful news is that Jesus came into our world not to point out all the ways that we're messing up, all the ways that we're failing and doing it wrong. He came to save us. He came to say, I am the way, the truth, and the life. He came to provide a way for us to have a relationship with God. He came to restore that relationship that had been broken right at the very beginning with the first humans. I think of this verse from Romans 5:6. When we were utterly helpless, Christ came at just the right time and died for us sinners. So while the timing might seem all wrong from our end, it was perfect timing from his end. So as we think of ways that we can be celebrating Advent as with our families, one of the things I love to use, we have a much smaller version at our house, but is an Advent wreath. It can be front and center, maybe on your dining room table, or maybe it's in your family room where everyone can see it. And every day we pause to have a moment coming around it. We do an Advent devotional. We light the candle. Each week we get to light an extra candle. So we're in week 1, we have 1. Next week we're going to get to light 2 candles and so on till we get to Christmas. And light is a wonderful symbol for how God enters our world. And Jesus is described as the light of the world. So it's another wonderful picture for us. But it's an interactive way for us to engage with our children during the Advent season. It kind of helps us count down the days. I know at our house we also get a little candy treat after we do our Advent devotional, which is always fun. An Advent calendar is another fun addition. You may get the ones that have chocolates and candies or toys in them, but why not add some questions about the Christmas story or reading a bit of the Christmas story as you do that as well. And again, it doesn't have to take a lot of time. You may want to do it during your family meal time like our family does. It could be at bedtime, maybe it's morning. But as we try and create these rhythms in our homes with our families, what we're doing is we're creating intentional space in our lives. We're making it a priority that this is one of the ways that we're going to focus on why we celebrate Christmas. This is a way we're going to build anticipation as we look forward to celebrating Jesus on Christmas Day. So I want to encourage you to consider making celebrating Advent an intentional way that you and your family can also do that. So thank you for watching this video, and just want to encourage you that you're practicing faith at home, in your own homes, that is a key part of one of the things we do as parents is leading our children to follow Jesus, love God, and love others, but that it's so they can then go and teach others, and it grows from there. I hope you have a wonderful and rich Advent season, and that it deepens your celebration of Christmas this year. I want to encourage you to share this video and also send in any questions or comments that you have. You can email me at sarah@onthejourney.ca. Have a wonderful week, and God bless.